You just moved back here from New York, right?
Yeah.
You were working for Beme.
Yes.
How did that
go? Didn't go well.
Yeah, I mean, how was everything? I know many people heard the news that Beme was disbanded, canceled, axed, kiboshed. I don't know why.
I'm trying to think of like a
so
play
many.
on words with beam, but there's nothing.
Beme, more like bin.
Whoa! That one's pretty good. That was not bad.
You just moved the letters around a little bit. Well, how? Yeah. Well, I'm just curious. How? First of all, how are you? You made a big move. You made a big life change recently.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine. I don't ever regret the decisions that I make generally, because it was a learning experience. Like, did it turn out successfully? For all intents and purposes, no. But I learned a lot from it. I like the fact that I was living both in New York and LA, which was like a very nice thing to do. It was kind of fun.
It's pretty sweet.
It was sweet. It's kind of difficult though,
Yeah.
going back and forth all the time.
I hate that
Especially
flight.
because when you're trying to be creative, like focusing all of your energy onto one thing gets a little bit diffused when you have something else that you're supposed to be focusing on, right? I'm sure you guys know that just from all the projects that you work on.
Sure,
Like it's
yeah.
hard to keep that up. But I think it's fine. I like the fact that we were given the opportunity to do what we wanted to do. We didn't really fulfill that, but I have no real hard feelings or bad feelings. The only thing I was a little upset about was how it was handled. Because basically, like, we're going to tell you, and then, hey, in 2 weeks, like, immediately, basically, everything's changed. There was no ramp-up period to it. It was just this immediate turnover.
All this. So, tell me about like how did you get the news? Like, how did it happen? You said it happened immediately, right?
Yeah. So I woke up to a BuzzFeed article.
You didn't know that there was anything wrong. Everything was great. Beme was going good.
I had a notion or two just from my talks with people that something was up. I didn't think it was going to be as drastic as what had happened. In my mind, it was like, Casey's going to just do his own thing, and that's fine. And we're still going to run as we were for the rest of this year
Right.
and find our own footing. That wasn't the case, obviously. I found out, it was actually, so it was my birthday was the day everything was announced.
Oh, man.
So I woke up to like all these
Great.
text messages, and they were all like, happy birthday. What happened to Beme? So then I Googled it, and there was this BuzzFeed article because it hadn't been announced to the company yet.
Oh my god.
How does that happen?
That's
That
crazy.
seems so whack.
Well, Casey's vlog about it, he accidentally made public before it was supposed to, and that then triggered the BuzzFeed article to come out.
Wow.
Wow.
And then Casey pulled his video, but BuzzFeed didn't pull their article.
Oh my god.
Oh,
That's
man.
insane.
So basically everyone at Beme found out either through Casey's accidental vlog or the BuzzFeed article before they were actually told.
How did you feel when you found out?
So you were reading Beme is being shut down.
Yeah, I was like, I woke up. I was
Did you
in my
believe
bed.
it? Were you like, are you sure? Because I don't know. And
I believed it.
Yeah.
I believed it. It was an interesting experience because I was in LA when that happened. So I was just talking to everybody in New York while they were like, oh, we're going up to find out if we still have jobs. And basically everyone was like offered jobs. If they decided to stay, it was up to them.
Really?
Yeah, not many.
For seeing that?
I think only 3 people in the team were actually let go outside of myself, Casey, and Matt. Like 3 full-time members were actually let go. Everyone else out of the other like 25 people were still offered positions. Yeah, so they gave people the opportunity to like, hey, you can still grow and build whatever you want to within CNN if that's what you choose.
That's nice.
But for me, it didn't really make sense anymore.
Yeah. Were you relieved or were you sad by the news?
I'm always sad when you don't get to do what you want. Like when you're not in charge of your own destiny is always kind of a sad feeling for me. But it was something that I had planned. Come April, when my lease was up in New York, I had planned to move back full-time here and just, when they needed me, fly in and help with productions or whatever. But really take a backseat, which is always kind of the plan. I wasn't supposed to be part of the news team forever. The idea was like, Casey and I help set the tone for what the news team is. And then after 3 months, we move on to working on other projects under the Beme banner. And we never got to that point. So that was the main thing. We had a lot of ideas for things that we wanted to create together that we never got to.
Yeah.
And that's always sad, seeing ideas die.
Right. Why do you think that it didn't work out?
Well, I'm also, that sip was 1 for dramatic purposes, 2 to think about what I'm actually allowed to say. I mean, honestly, what Casey said in his vlog about him just kind of disappearing from the entire team is a large part of that. And there's 2 sides of it. I think, 1, people were disappointed because they were kind of promised that, hey, you're going to be making videos with Casey. And that's a lot of pressure to put onto one person.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Casey, like, run this whole thing, manage everything.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I could just do my own stuff and be more successful at that.
Right.
And I can do anything that I want and not have to rely on other people. And then from that, some people took that as like, oh, we've been abandoned, and they just shut down. Others kind of went with that, like, I'm going to make something myself. But obviously, having Casey as like a figurehead's a very important thing to have, especially when you're trying to gain audience for something. And with that not there, I just think that it seemed less of an incentive to keep it going.
Casey wasn't really involved.
that
He
was
wasn't in
just
the
like
videos
a-
towards the end of the rodeo.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Interesting. I guess, was he just not, I mean, I don't want to.
Well, it
can't
just
speak
sounds
for
like
him,
there
but-
was just lots of like confusion about the identity of the.
Yeah, like he was there to
General.
kind of direct us creatively, and he wasn't. And I'm not trying to put the blame on him. I think, like, I was thinking about this a lot, and even seeing it and experiencing it, I do a similar thing where it's easier to be like, okay, I'm just going to separate myself from this. So if it fails, it's not really my fault. Like, I wasn't even a part of it.
Right.
And there is a lot of pressure where, you know, the dude's going from making videos by himself, doing anything he wants by himself,
Right.
to now you have a team of 10 people that you have to be in charge
Yeah,
of.
and CNN's like, okay, this is the new Vice News now. Go get it.
Yeah, we didn't really have, which I think there was a lot of just miscommunications where I remember it was actually a week ago last year that I started at Beme, and it was just Casey and I and this other guy, and we were just making stuff or like trying to make things. And that was really, really fun because it was just us creating things, didn't have to worry about anyone else.
Yeah.
And then like a month later, we were just like, hey, we just hired 9 new people. We have to figure out how these cogs fit into this machine that hadn't been built yet. So we were trying to build it around the pieces that were inside where we should have kind of been doing it the other way.
It's really hard.
So I get it. Like, it was just a lot of stress and pressure. And so I get it.
Well, it was a cool experiment.
Yeah, it
you
was
made some really cool videos.
I agree.
Oh, thank
it was,
you.
It was it's a shame, I feel like, because I felt the last video you guys made about cryptocurrency.
Yeah, that
I don't
one was
remember,
so good.
and I was like, man, I felt like kind of just, I don't know, I felt like a little nostalgia already for it being gone, because I was like, this was so cool. This was a great video, and
Yeah.
I kind of felt like you guys were maybe just starting to hit your stride a little bit.
I think we had, honestly, in my mind, once the pressure of like Casey needing to be involved was gone, everyone took this kind of breath and was like, oh, we can just do what we want now.
Right.
We're not trying to aim for someone else's guidelines or someone else's vision. We're just going to do what we want.
Yeah.
And I even did, I mean, I'm guilty as well, where I kind of took a back seat and was like, I'm just going to let you guys do this. But then with that crypto mining piece, I was like, you know what? I actually enjoy this. Like Jack, who was in the video with me, let's just go make this ourselves. And I think if I had done more of that, then maybe things might be different. I don't really know. But I was never, when I was hired, I was never supposed to be on camera.
Right.
And that's what
Yeah.
really appealed to me, was like, I'm going to be behind camera and help run things.
Right.
And not have to be this person who's dictating and directing and like moving you
Right.
through.
It was a different thing. It was
Yeah.
it was a whole new thing.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Like,
Well,
again, I learned a lot.
Your title was the director of production?
Yeah. But I learned a lot from it, and I'm happy for that.
It's a great experience.
Yeah,
On
I'm
paper.
not upset about anything. Like, I learned a lot. I met a lot of new people that I really like. And I mean, we got to even make a video together.
Yeah.
Vape Nation.
Vape Nation, bro. The real Vape Nation.
Yeah.
So I'm not upset about it. I feel bad for I mean, also, I'm very fortunate. I had 2 jobs. I was doing Vsauce and this at the same time. So I lost one job. Oh no, what am I going to do? I'll just move back to LA, I guess.
And continue what you were doing
Continue doing
anyway.
my other job and being able to focus on that more.
Do you
Yeah.
feel inspired at all to continue the journalistic approach now that you've had a taste for it?
Not at all. I don't.
Huh.
It was interesting, and that's again why news has never been my thing. I think it's interesting. I don't particularly like being involved in it because you can't control the story as much. It has to be exactly what's there in front of you, and you need to portray it as realistically and honestly as possible, hopefully. But when it comes to like what I do on Vsauce, I can create a world and like show it to you through my own lens.
Right.
And
It's
you
a more
miss
of
that.
a creative.
It's more
experience.
filmmaking versus like a documentary capturing
Right,
things.
right.
So nah, I mean, it's all right.